welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Boxing. I'm Leti.
I'm LB.
And let's get into this fight this weekend. I've been waiting for this fight.
We got a banger.
I'm happy it's finally here.
Yep.
So we have Dmitry Bivol out of, Russian fighter versus Zurdo Ramirez out of Mexico. So, man, I've been talking about this fight for a minute now. I was really excited to see this, and I'm so happy that it's finally here in Abu Dhabi. And we just got done watching the press conference earlier. Did anything stand out to you?
There wasn't really too much talking. I will just say this, what I got kind of from the press conference is Dmitry Bivol, he looks very focused. It seems like, he still feels like he has a lot to prove. And it almost feels like, what I got from him is that he feels almost like he hasn't really done anything yet. It kind of seems like that's kind of what I kind of got from it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you because I was watching some other interviews from him too. And, they were asking him like, you got this, you defeated the pound for pound, guy. Like, you pretty much could say that you kind of made it already or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, man, when people say that, he goes, I still feel like I have a lot to prove, So I think he still feel like he has a lot to prove because one, yes, he beat the pound for pound, right?
Yeah.
Rightfully so. Mm-hmm. But again, he wasn't like in his division, so I think he really wants to prove that he's the best in his division.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like after listening to him, like he definitely, a lot of people say that, I'm going to win this fight, but he definitely believed, that he was going to win this fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's very confident, and even though the world was shocked, he wasn't shocked.
Oh, about Canelo?
Canelo.
I thought you were saying about this fight because I was like, I can say the same thing about Zurdo because when Zurdo talks, he just seems like he's very confident and he's going to take those belts back home,
Definitely him too. He's confident as well.
Yeah, so now that just makes the fight even juicier to watch, It was a pretty chill press conference, nothing crazy. The only one that brought a little smoke to it was Jessica McCaskill.
Yeah, and that's going to be a banger too as a co-main event. Can't wait to watch that.
But other than that, they were, cool or whatever, nothing crazy. Bivol, he's just a silent killer. But let's get into predictions. So what's up?
Let's kind of get into this fight. So this is Bivol's fight after dethroning
pound for pound,
the pound for pound Canelo Alvarez, where he was actually defending his title against Canelo. He was the champion, and a lot of people picked him to lose that fight. He kind of he shocked the world by actually winning that fight and winning it convincingly. So we're excited to see Bivol back in the ring. Zurdo Ramirez, we've seen some of his fights, but he hasn't really been, in my opinion, he really hasn't been tested as much as Bivol. Hasn't been in these, the big fights. And so I was excited for him to actually get this opportunity so we can actually see, what he got. What he got. What he got against an opponent like this.
Yeah, I feel like Mexico's just waiting for there to be, another fighter to come out, from Mexico. And I feel like a lot of people are betting the money on Zurdo. Yeah. So I don't want to say that Zurdo has like a lot on his shoulder, like the pressure from the Mexican fans, but he kind of, it's like everyone's kind of looking towards him now.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like he also, he welcomed that pressure too, though, because he goes, I want to win this for Mexico and get the revenge. So, he wants that smoke. He wants that. He wants that notoriety. So I'm excited actually for that.
Yeah.
And I'm very hard on Golden Boy, but I will give them their credit. I'm happy that they made this fight. We just can't wait to kind of watch this fight.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited. I'll tell you who I think's gonna win the fight.
Let's go.
I mean, of course, Bivol, he's a good boxer. He's a great boxer. He moves around the ring very well. He seems very calm and collected. Like he sticks to his plan. In the ring, he doesn't let the pressure get to him. We have seen him fight against taller opponents. Like, was it Joe Smith?
Joe Smith.
He fought against him. He was way taller than him, and he pretty much dominated that fight.
And he was a small fighter, just like I think Zurdo's gonna have that size advantage as well. In this
although Zurdo is gonna have a little bit more of a arm reach, but So anyways, back to Bivol. Good movement around the ring, very calm and collective. And Zurdo, for being as tall as he kind of is, he moves around the ring pretty well also. Kind of recapping some of his other fights, he kind of used his levels, he used his upper body also to kind of do some kind of defense. He is a southpaw as well. And did you find out if Bivol fought against a southpaw before?
Yeah, he has fought against southpaws. I mean, it was the southpaws that he fought, they weren't on the level of Zurdo. That's for sure. But he has fought southpaws. But yeah, I mean, to kind of talk a little bit about the fighters. Yeah, when it comes to Bivol, Bivol's, man, he's just a good all around boxer. I mean, if you watch him, in his last fight, his jab, he has one of the best jabs. He has a really good jab as well. And the thing I like about his jab is he'll throw the jab and he's perfectly fine with just landing the jab and not falling in behind it. He does a good job of using the jab to keep his distance from his opponent. But don't get it twisted. He will sneak in a right hand, and he catches. I say he got a sneaky right hand because he'll just be landing the jab. He'll throw the jab 1, 2, and then he'll sneak in a right hand that catches fighters off guard. He's got good feet, so I do anticipate him using the ring. Zurdo, he likes to put on the pressure. He does come forward. He's going to need to be in the best shape of his career, fighting against a boxer like Bivol, because we already know Bivol can use the ring. So, Zurdo is definitely going to have to cut off the ring and go to the body. And I will say that he actually is good at going to the body as well.
You say so?
Yeah, I would say he's good at going to the body. And he's got, and Zurdo, I will say, he does have the size advantage. And I think he will have the power advantage. But it's gonna be, is he gonna be able to land those shots?
Yeah. And it's like with Zurdo, I've seen somebody where he used his jab pretty well as well, to keep the distance and use his distance against his opponents. I definitely have seen that. He loves, like I said, he was using all the jabs, and he loves to sneak in those uppercuts because that's his shit too.
Yeah, and to kind of talk about that, he does have the skills to box, and sometimes he does box, and we even saw him use angles sometimes. We've seen him pivot to the outside, but. You know what? Even though he does have that ability, he loves to fight.
He does.
He loves to fight. So it's going to be interesting. Also another thing that Bivol brings to the table is Bivol is a good counter puncher too. And I kind of see this fight kind of starting off where where he's using more of the ring. I think later down the fight, he will sit in the pocket and trade more, and start throwing Bivol and start letting his combinations go towards later in the fight. But even though he is a good boxer and he does use the ring, he still loves to let his hands go. You know what I mean? He's not gonna. It's not like he's just gonna use the ring and not be throwing punches.
Yeah. So. And I think especially it depends on his opponent at the time. Yeah. And both can go for Zurdo, whether he uses his distance or he wants to sit there and bang. It really just depends on his opponent.
Yeah.
But with that being said, okay, I'm gonna just get into it. Who I'm riding with on this fight. Who I'm riding with on this fight.
Who you think gonna win this fight?
What that? Who I think is gonna win this fight is I'm going with Gilberto Ramirez.
Okay.
Let's go. Bring it back.
Okay. You think he's gonna do it?
Go ahead.
Okay, you know what? I got Dmitry Bivol. And the reason why I got Dmitry Bivol is kind of some of the things I already said. I think he's the better boxer out of the two. Zurdo can box too, and and he's gonna be coming forward. But I just think that the better boxer is gonna win this one. I see Zurdo being the come forward fighter. Bivol is more than capable of fighting off the back foot, and I can see him landing counter shots on Zurdo as he's coming forward. Sometimes Zurdo, he doesn't, he isn't as defensively responsible, and he tends to let his hands, keep his hands down. And, so I definitely can see Bivol boxing his way to a decision. I don't think there's going to be a knockout. I do think that Zurdo is going to have some success in this fight. Another thing that I think is going to be a major factor for Dmitry Bivol is going to be the speed advantage. When it comes between the two, he definitely has the speed advantage, whether it be with his feet and his hands over Zurdo Ramirez. So I think that's going to be able to give Zurdo some problems as well. One of the things I'm actually looking forward to, though, is to see, because we did kind of touch on the fact that Zurdo is a southpaw, and we know that since he is a southpaw, the left hand is gonna, the straight left hand, it's gonna be it can be a factor against the orthodox fighters, just like the straight right hand is known to be a southpaw killer. But the fact that Bivol hasn't really been in there with a southpaw in a long time, or on the level of Zurdo, it's going to be interesting to see if Zurdo can time Bivol and land the left hand. Will that make Dmitry Bivol more hesitant? And how much trouble will that give Dmitry Bivol? I think he'll have to make an adjustment there, but I do think that he'll be able to box his way to a decision.
Okay.
So I'm going with Bivol by decision, but I think it's gonna be a good fight. And I think it's gonna be a good fight.
Me too. I can't wait. Yeah. I'm happy we got this fight. Yeah. Shit, there's so many fights being talked about out there that ain't happening that I'm just glad we got a good ass one.
Yeah. I'm glad we got this fight too. And again, hats off to Golden Boy making this good fight. So but yeah, we just can't wait to see this fight. Also on the undercard, we got Jessica McCaskill versus Chantel Cameron. That's going to be for undisputed. Jessica McCaskill is trying to be her second weight class of being undisputed. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be a banger. Yeah, I can. And also on Showtime, you got the up and coming fighter, David Morrell. The Cuban fighter, he's going to make his return. So, there's definitely some good boxing going on this upcoming weekend. But we just can't wait to see. Let us know below, how you see this fight or who you got in this fight. But that's all we got. So thanks for tuning in, y'all.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Or talk your shit. And we out.